It is the dawn of a new day for you. But hours ago, for me, Behavior has announced on their official X page that the 9.2.0 update will not be going live. Before we break for the weekend, we wanted to update folks on the ongoing PDB discussions, which we have been following very closely since last week's dev update. We have heard you clearly that the current implementation of tunneling reduction and slugging reduction systems players have been testing this week feels too punishing for killers. That's an understatement. For the release of Sinister Grace, we will hold back those features and their associated perk changes to iterate on some adjustments based on your feedback. Now, for a lot of you who have worked hard, raised your voice, any of my fellow content creators who may be watching right now, well, you definitely have earned a sigh of relief and by all accounts should be able to enjoy this victory. I'm afraid I'm going to have to just ask the question, what happens when Behavior is going to try this again?
As sure as I know anything, I know this. They will try again. Maybe on another world, maybe on this very ground swept clean. A year from now, 10, they'll swing back to the belief that they can make people better. And I do not hold to that. So no more running. I aim to misbehave.
The wording of this tweet is not an admonishment of guilt nor an apology, but it's a statement in and of itself. I want to make this crystal clear to all of you listening right now. I will never step into the framework that tunneling and slugging are illegitimate or toxic behaviors. Never. They are strategies for killers to build pressure, and acts as a balancing measure in and of themselves against innumerable alternative counters, strategies, and skill levels that can be implemented by survivors. Anyone who has played this game long enough knows these things exist at all MMR brackets. All that changes is the skill level of their execution. These strategies are integral to the game. When inevitably Behavior tries this again, you can never, ever claim otherwise, because when you do, they're going to do what they tried to do in this PDB to you. If you ever give them an inch by saying you understand, yeah, it's kind of toxic, they will take a mile and you will be right back here where Sadako is dead, buried at the bottom of a well, while they line up Pig against a wall to be shot. You are giving them license and power to do this to you and your other killers again and again. All killer strategies have some level of counterplay. If you don't like getting tunneled, get off the record and decisive. And just in general, yes, you do need to get better at looping. If you're great at looping, and you can make it very painful for the killer, they're either going to throw by overcommitment to you, or they're just going to leave you. You need to check your ego and realize the truth, and that is that slugging and tunneling are not personal, generally speaking. They are tactics and decisions made to advance the killer's objective, generally nothing more than this. If being left on the ground is so infuriating to you, bring Unbreakable, bring Tenacity, bring Conviction, bring No Mither. There's no shortage of options or skill improvements that this problem cannot be fixed by. To the great survivors who already understand this plight, I want you to know I'm not talking to you. I want to thank you sincerely for raising your voice against this change. In your hearts, you knew that this was wrong, and even though you abused certain mechanics, it was in the spirit of helping to prove a point. Whether for content creators to clip and showcase because seeing is believing, and for that I cannot thank you enough. It was necessary no matter how painful or frustrating it might have been for us on the other side. So again, thank you sincerely for that. However, for survivors who supported these changes, you need to take a cue from the higher level MMRs or the comp community. Even though I consider myself a killer main, according to Behavior stat tracking, I personally have more hours on Survivor than killer. And I never have ever thought while being slugged, wow, I am so mad right now. I'm also bored. I've only thought about things along the lines of, oh fuck, he's actually getting good momentum off of this. What can I do when I get back up? What can I do to counter this? If you adjust your mindset to one that is proactively looking for solutions, I promise you, not only will you begin to see better results since you're searching for those solutions in the first place, but you're going to feel better about what you're doing, and you're probably going to be having more fun. For killers who are also supporting these changes, you really have to stop apologizing and acting like you're doing something wrong. There is nothing toxic or wrong about what you are doing. It is a legitimate strategy, and every time you apologize, you legitimize your future destruction. Finally, to Behavior. Are we supposed to be grateful that you have mercifully pulled the shotgun out of both of our mouths? I have no intent nor aspiration to ever be a fog whisperer, so I have no incentive to offend you for your terrible decisions, so don't get this twisted. I'm not about to glaze you for the next 20 minutes. You need to do better. If you want to instill a positive change that will de-incentivize tunneling, the solution is simple. The unique hook properties you introduced are interesting, and with a tweak, they could actually be good. So good, in fact, that many killers would spread hooks purely to gain the benefits. How, you ask? Well, it's easy. It all goes back to subsidies and taxes. If you provide enough value, people will gravitate to get the value. Number 1. Instead of 10% haste each time someone's chained on a unique hook, you should be giving the killer a permanent 1% haste effect that stacks and lasts the entire game. This is a true incentive to get multiple hooks on different people, because at 5 to 6 hooks, which is where you were trying to aim for anyway, is where the true effects of this are really coming online. 5% haste on a 110 killer is huge, and 5% haste on a 115 killer is massive. The more unique hooks a killer gets, the easier future applications of pressure become through snowballing, which is the entire point of why he's doing other strategies instead. It is because this area does not allow him to build the same momentum that slugging and tunneling can in certain situations. This offers a legitimate reason to gain momentum. Survivors are progress-based, which is a lot more stable and harder to disrupt than momentum. Momentum is fragile. This is what you would call a true incentive. Number 2, 20% regression and pop isn't bad, but it's not good either. It disproportionately benefits killers who are high mobility, and again, this always seems to trend upward into the A+ tiers and S+ tiers who are getting the most value, while at the same time it leaves the killers who need this most, the ones who have no map pressure to begin with or mobility, in the dust, and they're no better off than they were before because pop was never good on them to begin with. Instead, you should make Pain Res base kit, and it should activate on any hook. Just rework the original perk into something else. You also need to avoid fucking with the other regression perks if you want this to be an incentive. Here's the reality. You can either have a stall-based meta or you can have a chase-based one, but you can't have both. Either you can give killers the ability to extend the game with mechanics that slow down the generators so that you can extend chases and spread out the pressure throughout a longer game, or you can incentivize a chase-based meta which is about ending the chase and playing as efficiently as possible, i.e. any means necessary, including tunneling or slugging, and they're probably going to come up more in a chase meta. If you were really concerned that a base kit Pain Res would be too much, you could even play into the same themes of the first point, which would be make it a 4% with each unique hook. The first hook is 4%, the next one's 8%, the next one's 12%, and the next one's 16%. At 4 hooks, 16% gen regression is a lot, and by 5, it's 20%. You're probably not going to want to stop there. You're probably going to want to keep getting that benefit, because the value is just going up. And that's what you want, isn't it? You want the game to be extended. And the great thing is about all of this, you don't have to cut or destroy any of the other strategies to make this worth people's time. Again, you're providing an alternative level of value. If I have 4 hooks and I'm getting 16% damage on a gen that has the most progress, and I now have a 4% haste effect that's just permanent, I kinda want to keep rolling on that. Why wouldn't I? Anyhow, that's really all I have to say. For all the wonderful killers and survivors who came out and visited my channel in the past 2 weeks, I cannot thank you enough for the outpouring of support. This has been some pretty crazy growth over 7 days. I've enjoyed talking with all of you in the comments, and I really look forward to releasing even higher quality content in the future. A heads up on that, my videos are going to be taking longer from now on because I want to produce higher quality long format videos that are going to be a little bit more philosophical in base and approaching DBD from a different angle I don't think people have seen before. Anyhow, like, subscribe, please leave a comment as well. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this whole fiasco. Hell, even let me know what you think about how I did with my incentivization for unique hook states. I'd love to hear your thoughts, or leave your own. I'm sure between all of our minds, we could probably think of a much better idea than anything Behavior pushed out in the last PTB. Until next time, this is Mad Moon, and when Behavior tries this again, we'll be ready.